A fees must fall activist, Kanya Cekeshe, expected to appear in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court for a bail hearing. Cekeshe has been behind bars since December 2017 after being sentenced to 5 years for public disturbance. He allegedly set fire to a police vehicle at the height of the fees must fall protest in 2016 when young people were fighting for tertiary education costs to be lowered or done away with. Our reporter, Griselda Lewis, is at the court. Griselda, a very good morning to you. What's happening where you are?
Well, Desiree, in just a few moments, we're expecting members of the EFF Student Command to march here to the Johannesburg Magistrates Court. Well, that's where the bail hearing of the convicted fees must fall activist Kanya Cekeshe will be heard this morning. You would recall, of course, he has been serving time at the Leeuwkop prison here in Johannesburg since December 2017 after, of course, he had pleaded guilty to torching a police van during the fees must fall protests in 2016. So subsequent to that, Desiree, you would know that he then acquired a new legal team that now want his sentence and conviction overturned, and that legal team is led by advocate Tembeka Toby. And basically what they're saying is that the 5-year sentence that was meted out to Kanya Cekeshe was unjust. They say it was politically motivated, and they believe that there was an injustice on his part. And Kanya Cekeshe is also arguing at this time that he was also, he was basically misled, he says, at the time when he was told that he should plead guilty to torching that police van in 2016. So what his legal team is now asking for, they're asking for the conviction and sentence to be overturned, but not during this hearing. They're saying that at a later stage, they will appeal that sentence and conviction. But as for now, they believe that he should be granted bail pending that appeal of the sentence and the conviction. So that bail hearing is taking place here at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court this morning. And we're expecting quite a number of members of the EFF Student Command to come here today. We saw an EFF truck belonging, of course, to the political party that was parked outside the Magistrates Court a few moments ago. So they were expected to start marching from Jorrison Street to the courthouse here, where the hearing itself is scheduled to begin in the next few moments.
Griselda, we know that previously fees must fall activists have marched to the union buildings, made a plea with the president to have mercy on all the students affected by the legal problems resulting from fees must fall protests. Do we know, in terms of the side of the law, if there's any indication that they might show mercy on Kaya?
Well, Desiree, at this stage, you must recall, of course, if you look at the nature of this particular case, Kanya Cekeshe basically says that he was misled by his previous legal team in pleading guilty to torching that police van in 2016. So, as I earlier indicated, what he is now saying is that as a result of getting this new legal team behind him, whom they believe these initial charges that were brought against him were politically motivated, what they will argue in this instance is that it was unfair, it was unjust for him to be meted out a sentence of 5 years, for him to serve 5 years at the Leeuwkop correctional facility here in Johannesburg, and that all these charges that had been placed against him were nothing but a political ploy. So if you look at the nature of this particular case, he's the only fees must fall activist that currently remains behind bars, and there have been quite a number of calls for the president to intervene in this instance, where students have long been arguing, they've been fighting for their rights, and they're saying it's unfortunate that there were instances that had to lead to violence, as we saw in 2016 when I covered the fees must fall protests. And what they're saying is that this is a chance for the courts to undo the injustice against Kanya Cekeshe, and that what they say is an injustice in terms of the sentence that was meted out against him. So very strongly what we're expecting his new legal team to argue, which is led by Advocate Thembeka Toby, is that number one, these charges were politically motivated. According to Kanya Cekeshe, he says that he was misled by his previous legal team into pleading guilty to the torching of that police van in 2016, and that basically he should, the whole sentence and conviction itself should be overturned. But most crucially, in this particular court hearing here today, he should be granted bail even ahead of the appeal of that conviction and sentence, which will be at a later stage.
What sort of scenes are we seeing this morning in terms of solidarity from students?
Well, Desiree, very quiet this morning, but there were members of the EFF Student Command that sent out a press release yesterday saying that they were scheduled to be here at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court any moment now. They were scheduled to start moving from Jorrison Street, which is not too far from here, to the Johannesburg Magistrates Court, where I'm standing at the moment. But the legal team of Kanya Cekeshe has already arrived at court. We're expecting in the next few moments the bail application to get underway. What we do know is that the defense team says that it's ready to proceed with the bail application. We're not sure at this stage on the part of the state on whether they will ask for a postponement. That will all become much clearer once we get into court in the next few moments. But we're also expecting quite a lot of activity here in the next few moments, because the EFF Student Command had indicated that they were going to come here and protest in support and continuously calling for of course, the conviction and sentence of Kanya Cekeshe to be overturned, but in this instance, for him to be granted bail.
Griselda Lewis is watching events at the High Court and will give us an update as soon as one is available.